Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a full Faction War series between the Space Marines and the Forces of Chaos. Our first player will be Acey, playing as the Tech Marine, shooty Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion and the ability to repair vehicles. Next up, it's going to be Endor, the healing Space Marine commander. That is the Apothecary, of course. Does have a targeted heal as well as a passive heal aura. Next up, it's going to be Vohlrim, playing as the Force Commander. Tanky melee hero with Battle Cry, an ability that buffs and disrupts simultaneously. On the other side, it's going to be our Forces of Chaos. TyranidTerror will be playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. This is a spellcasting and battlefield manipulation hero. Next up, representing Papa Nurgle, it's going to be Zeno as this Plague Champion. Space Marine Ranged Commander. Just kidding, I meant Chaos Ranged Commander with a bolter. He can get melee weapons and so on. Finally, it's going to be MylanHunter playing as the Chaos Lord. Tanky melee hero, walks through cover and cannot be suppressed. Alright then, Chaos Lord right here, getting into melee with some Tactical Marines. Not doing a huge amount of damage at the moment. Meanwhile, looks like Force Commander getting into melee with some Chaos Space Marines. No, that's the Plague Champion, although now he's trying to get into melee with some Chaos Space Marines. The Apothecary's doing the same thing. And there will definitely be some Chaos Forces forced off. It does look like MylanHunter is still here and still trying to do things, but he is kind of outnumbered, so I don't know how well this is going to go for him. I think he was trying to go for maybe another Tactical Marine model. Meanwhile, on this side, did hear a shotgun blast go off, so that will be Scouts retreating. Just kidding, I meant Heretics retreating, while Scouts are the ones who actually use the shotgun blast. Chaos Space Marines, I think they really just need to go here before they actually risk dropping a model, and indeed, they hit that retreat. It's either just in time or maybe not. I don't know, and really just checking here to see if they do get another model in retreat or one model at all, but it won't happen. Meanwhile, we've got some Scouts apparently ignoring the Heretics. Heretics have been upgraded with some auto guns and grenade launchers there. Use their grenade barrage on the Tactical Marines. Not too much effect there. And then the Sorcerer himself is going to be here. He'll shoot out some Doom Bolts, but otherwise he's pretty much outnumbered, and this will just have to be a retreat from him as well. So definitely one engagement for Space Marines on that side of the map. Meanwhile, some Tactical Marines will shoot in some shots on the Heretics. Heretics trying to get around that big box to just block line of sight so they won't take any more damage, while the Chaos Space Marines try to open fire on them. So here we are going to see that the Tactical Marines, well, not Tactical Marines are just straight up in retreat. So is this Tech Marine. So Acey had, overall he was winning in that lane, but at this point he is giving it up. I guess he was just overwhelmed. Meanwhile, on this side, what's going on right here? Honestly, not a whole lot. If we've seen everybody here with close to full health bars aside from this Tactical Marine squad, which I think now, okay, I was going to say, it seems like they're pretty outnumbered. Not sure if they were fully in cover. We're even going to have Heretics trying to get into melee, but I think there's just so much focus fire. Okay, this does get the Chaos Lord into melee, though. Shuts down the range damage of the Tactical Marines, and they're getting close to the point where they might lose a model. This is double Chaos Space Marines with Eternal War. To be honest, I actually feel they might be able to win this against the Assault Marines. But part of what the Assault Marines are doing is that they're focusing on the squad that has the lower health, trying to force out a model loss to scare... Who is this? This is MylanHunter off the field. So finally, the lower health Chaos Space Marine squad is gone, and then the one by itself, even though it has full health, it does not want to contend with the Assault Marines in melee by itself. Chaos Lord, pretty close to going down here. 20 hit points, but no more damage put in on him after that. Chaos Sorcerer by himself, shooting out more Doom Bolts. Not a bad hit. Not a bad hit. Does, I mean, it's literally taken about 40% of the Tactical Marine squad's health, but the Sorcerer himself just so low that he will need to retreat. All around, it does feel like one engagements for our Space Marine players. They've got the lead in victory points. I believe we did even see a Chaos Commander revived at some point. Must have been Zeno, so looks like Zeno was taken out at some point and needed to buy back early upgrades on this Plague Champion, and especially to have two of them. But I think part of the intention here is this is, I think, a lot of what you can do to make the Plague Champion a little bit more tanky in Tier 1. He now, very early on in the game, giving up the ranged weapon for the Plague Champion and going with a melee build. That Plague Sword, typically considered good against Assault Marines, I think, since it does ignore melee resistance, it does do power melee damage, and if you can spawn the zombies you can actually use the Assault Marines against your opponent. You can actually have them jump in, get the knockback. They won't last too long, but even just getting knockback can be very powerful. Double Chaos Space Marines, I was going to say, if anything, I feel those Double Chaos Space Marines backed off a little bit early. I felt they could have put more pressure on those scouts. Now it's the Chaos Lord pretty much approaching by himself. He takes so much damage there that it's going to really make it a lot harder for MylanHunter to get much use out of his Chaos Lord. Again, moving back those Chaos Space Marines in arguably a little bit too early. All right, the Plague Champion trying to get into melee, but he's focusing on meleeing the Force Commander. Force Commander is pretty low, though, so the Force Commander might be forced off. The Chaos Lord gets a kill of the week, allowing him to sustain a little bit longer. And the Chaos Space Marines retreat here. Meanwhile, double Assault Marines definitely going to scare. Oh, God, a grenade. What a grenade. Oh, my God. And somehow the Chaos Space Marine model was also knocked back. That could be a kill. It is. A Chaos Space Marine squad is lost. Very, very unfortunately. For our Chaos players, of course. Zombie Scout has been spawned right here. Unfortunately for Zeno, that's not exactly the highest value zombie to get, since it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Doesn't really... I don't think... Since it's... I don't think you get access to a grenade or anything like that. I think for units that you kill with the Plague Sword, I think you can only use baseline abilities. Although, to be fair, that's actually an interaction that I've never thought of for pretty much the past 10 years and have never given much thought to. It's also something I would want to test just to make absolutely sure. I'm sure someone knows it, though. Okay, with that one engagement, of course, we're going to see a Power Bash. No Flamer, though, so it's not a particularly fast Power Bash, and they're doing it at maximum range. Raptors will jump in. They do get the suppression on these Tactical Marines. Meanwhile, Kraken Bolts will go in from the other tac squad, but I think... Yeah, our Space Marines just need to be in full retreat. Vohlrim a little bit slow on this, though, and finally does get that tac squad out of there. Grenade will be thrown in. No response. Okay, some response, but still a lot of Heretic models caught. About 5 Heretic models died from that grenade. And that's considering eventually it was reacted. Oh, no! Was that an entire squad? I feel like it was. It's hard to tell if that's like the remnants of this squad or like, but either way, that was a very high value grenade. All right, Apothecary has been equipped with the customized Stormbolter, and it's often something that's can be very helpful against tanky melee heroes. I also feel it could be very, very good against the Sorcerer, especially since he's not particularly tanky. You put that on him, use that ability on him, then focus him down. He probably has to retreat pretty soon. So it's definitely our Space Marine players still definitely on the winning end of things. They do have a lead in victory points, 468 to 367. All right, Devastator Marines open fire. Pretty close range against this power node. They'll finish it off. Not the most eventful thing happening right here, but of course what's important for our Space Marine players is that they do have a double cap. So it's very much on our Chaos team to make a move to flip the script. Here we see some tier 2 units coming out. Bloodletters being the first of them. Excuse me. Very predictably, we'll be teleporting right next to the Devastators. Devastators really can't stick around there too long. We do have the shotgun scouts there to answer it back and knock them down, although Bloodletters are immune to suppression. Not immune to knockback, but immune to suppression. So that does slightly lessen the effectiveness of the shotgun blast out of the scouts. Ooh, but we're seeing more tier 2 stuff, and this is where particularly the stuff we're seeing out of our Chaos players are getting pretty scary. We've got some Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines right here, going to do a huge amount of damage to heavy armor. Bloodletters as well. Oh, but here is going to be some kind of drop. I think it's just got to be a drop pod or something, just right on top of some Chaos Space Marines. They don't see it coming. Tactical Marines just right in there, and already it's quite a bloodbath. I think the Heretics have been forgotten, and that will be another spot of Heretics wiped. Actually, I'm not sure if there ever was one wiped. Meanwhile, okay, Assault Marines jump back out. So low in hit points. The Bloodletters are kind of cleaning house, though. Another squad of heretics really, really low, down to only the aspiring champion, and needs to get out of here. Not a whole lot to deal with this dreadnought. Oh god, Chaos Space Marines in such a bad position. That could actually be a wipe on this squad. They're so low. Special attacks, no retreat. Literally one more melee attack killed the entire squad. Okay, we've got dreadnoughts on both sides. 2 Space Marine dreadnoughts, in fact, and then only a single Chaos dreadnought. TyranidTerror definitely suffering some losses. Alright, so this dreadnought definitely going to be hitting away at this Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord is kind of lucky that he wasn't targeted by the dreadnought. I think he could have been finished off. Oh, Chaos Dreadnought is... unless we have a warp global, he could actually warp it out, but it would also not be in such a good position, even if it is warped in. Now, that'll just be an easy kill for the Space Marines on that Dreadnought. So Dreadnought is gone. TyranidTerror has, like, no army now, and it's an even bigger victory point lead for our Space Marine players. So they will maintain control of the contested victory point. And already... okay, I was going to say... TyranidTerror looking to replace his Dreadnought. Ooh. It's definitely looking rough for our Chaos team at the moment. Big victory point lead that just keeps on getting bigger for our Space Marine players. Space Marine players also looking pretty healthy in terms of their army. I think it was mostly Endor who lost a Scout Squad. I don't know if there have actually been any other losses other than that. Alright, there are a lot of Chaos Forces here, and not all of the Space Marines are here, so let's see how they can do in this. Raptors jump in. Oh, but they will just get stunned by the Emperor's Fist. They're so low. They're actually nearly wiped. They still might get wiped. It's so close. Dreadnought trying to finish them off. Gets it down to 1 model. Chaos still overall doing okay in this engagement. I think, aside from the Dreadnought, I think they just have the edge over most of the infantry. Especially, we've got a missile launcher attack squad, good against vehicles, but now there's not really a vehicle to deal with, although TyranidTerror actually does have a new Dreadnought, but it's not there yet. Oh, and we're getting lots of zombie scouts also. That also does mean a lot of scouts are going down. Space Marine players actually suffering some losses. I'm not sure where, but at least one of those players, Endor lost his scout squad. I think that's his 2nd scout squad loss. Another Emperor's Fist, though. They still don't actually have anything significant to really threaten this Dreadnought. Of course, we do see it has taken some damage. But that's just because all the sources of damage against it are very, very light at the moment. Not enough to really threaten to kill it, as long as it still has 900 hit points. Alright, so this Dreadnought from TyranidTerror will scare these Tactical Marines away. It doesn't even succeed in killing a model. Unfortunately for it, it can't take back this power node. Dreadnoughts can't cap.
Understood.
Alright, Chaos Heretics will need to retreat there. And man, what's this new effect? I feel like that wasn't always there. I don't know if maybe that's even just a bug on this particular replay. It doesn't seem right to me. But oh well, for now it's here to stay, because I'm not interrupting this replay in this cast. It's not that big of a deal. Alright then. Havocs do shoot the Dreadnought, but the Assault Squad is there to stop it, and I think... oh yeah, alright. I think they kind of got there just in time. Havoc's trying to get out of there. So much counter-initiation, though, from the Bloodletters. Absolutely ripping the Assault Marines apart. There's another squad of Assault Marines, though. I don't think this Havoc can actually stick around much longer. Otherwise, it might actually go down. There is a 2nd Havoc squad, but it's also being chased down by yet another Dreadnought, as well as some Scouts. This Havoc squad absolutely needs to go, or it's done. It's done. One more hit, yeah. And it's going to be just a sync kill. Our Chaos players just can't seem to catch a break, and the victory point disparity has grown even bigger. Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines will do very well against Shotgun Scouts, certainly before the Shotgun Scouts can get into close range, but Shotgun Scouts will knock them over, and then the follow-up of the marked target as well as the overcharged plasma gun just absolutely going to rip those Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines apart. I don't know. So far, this, I mean, we've seen some comebacks. We saw it in the last Faction War series, but this game is looking very close to being a done deal in favor of our Space Marine players. right, they will finish off the whole farm. Khorne Dreadnought is now here. Okay, we're going to see both a Summoning Circle as well as an actual Bloodletter squad teleport in. That's a lot of melee damage. And the Chaos Dreadnought uses Blood Rage, does not target any friendly squads, and succeeds in killing the Tech Marine. Will just be a retreat from that Force Commander, who is upgrading to the Chainsword and Storm Shield even after fully upgrading in Tier 1. Power Sword, Artificer Armor, Sacred Standard. Although I would say, well, I don't know. Actually, either the Power Sword or the Chainsword and Storm Shield do kind of pair with the Force Commander, since both of those weapons are kind of like support weapons. The Chainsword and Storm Shield more so. But both of them, their primary purpose... Ooh, their primary purpose is actually meant to be basically buffing allied units, or maybe not allied units, but your own units. I always mix up those two terms, whether it's friendly, allied, or just your own units. Man, Chaos Lord actually does some decent damage just solo bashing a generator with those 100 DPS power melee claws. Slightly unnecessary scout retreat, just worried about the high damage coming out of the Tzeentch Marines. Here's a little bit of a flank coming out from those tacks, getting in the garrison, but it's not actually a great position for them to be in at the moment. So yeah, they will just need to get back out. We do see Plasma Gun. There has been some debate recently over, well, honestly, there actually been debates since the beginning of time about Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines versus Plasma Attacks. It's a debate as old as time. Oh, Raptors, I think, are going to go down. Assault Marines jump in. Can they just finish off the Raptors? And they do. I don't know. We're now down to less than 100 victory points. Technically, grammatically correct, it would be fewer than 100 victory points for our Chaos players. So Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines versus Plasma Attacks. The raw DPS numbers tend to favor the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, but they tend to do their damage in more of a sustained fashion, whereas the Tactical Marines do it in a burst fashion. Also, the Tactical Marines don't lose the Plasma Gun when you lose models on the squad, whereas every time a Tzeentch Chaos Space Marine squad loses a model, they lose one of the Inferno Bolters, which is a significant portion of that Inferno damage. Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines, though, here doing a lot of damage to the Tactical Marines, or those are Stern Guard veterans, actually, but they will get knocked over by the Shotgun Blast Scouts. Ooh, Apothecary does go down, though, so our Chaos players still trying to fight back, but they might be getting some kills, but what they need more than kills at the moment is some victory points, and unfortunately, they're losing one of their victory points. Oh, they just barely knock off the Tactical Marines in time. They might kill the squad for it. That was absolutely incredibly important. We're going to see a Plague Marine squad teleported in forward with the Warp Global to try to help deal with this Dreadnought, but it's a Dreadnought. It's level 2. It's been upgraded with the Dark Age of technology, so it's going to be pretty tanky, and those Plague Marines don't really do a huge amount of DPS. Ooh, Orbital Bombardment. Let's see what that's going to do. Catches the Plague Champion. Does not catch the Bloodletters. Another one. An Orbital Bombardment on top of an Orbital Bombardment, catching the Plague Marines, which is most of the anti-vehicle response, and still no one actually dealing with this victory point. We've got seconds left before we've reached the point of no return for our Chaos players, and then it'll probably be game in favor of our Space Marine team. At this point, the point of no return has been reached, and this is going to be game number 1 going in favor of our Space Marine players. A Land Raider comes out, but it's very much just driving on a victory lap at the moment, because that will be the end of the game, and it's time to move on to game number 2. Game number 2 will take place on Argus Desert Gate. We've got Endor back on that Apothecary. Actually, I already forget whether he was playing the Apothecary or not in the previous game. Vohlrim will be on this Force Commander. And then we're going to have Slasher coming in, and he will be playing as the Tech Marine, wherever he is. On the other team, we do have same players, but at least one commander change. Zeno still on that Plague Champion. MylanHunter also going to be playing a Plague Champion this game, and TyranidTerror will still be on Sindri. Trollface. Chaos Sorcerer. Although he did switch his skin. I believe the one that he had before was the Night Lords, whereas this one, I can't really tell by the color, but that is the standard Sorcerer costume. Anyway, so obviously our Chaos team down in this series. Let's see what they can do to make a comeback. Scouts will move forward, probably just looking to get some cap started, but they also have to be careful. Once they come into the halfway point, they have to be careful about tanking range fire. If they do, are the ones who are basically leading and looking for vision. Like right here, unfortunately, it's not a great moment for Scouts to be advancing. They take some damage from the Chaos Space Marines. They're very much in a disadvantage. I think ideally, although Scouts are fast, I think the Tactical Marines need to be the ones who are going to lead in like that, because they can afford to tank that damage more so than the Tax can, rather than the Scouts can. Ooh, but instead, Vohlrim looking for that double, just moves out of the middle lane, and of course, because the what is the middle even for? I guess there are resource points that you can get, but he will assist his teammate in picking up the contested victory point on top, so start that victory point pressure rolling in favor of our Space Marine players. We do see MylanHunter trying to support, but he's realizing it just a little bit too late, and he's just going to bleed a lot of Heretic models for his troubles. Meanwhile, on this side, does look like, oh, TyranidTerror. Can he wipe that Scout squad? I don't think he can. TyranidTerror being super aggressive right here, going in for the Scout squad. I think he will win against the Tactical Marines and actually gets them all the way down to one model, but he has had to retreat most of his units. Actually, I think he could have kept the Sorcerer in there just a little bit longer. In fact, that might have been a little bit unfortunate for him. I think if he had kept the Sorcerer in there just a little bit longer, he might have been able to prevail over the Apothecary with the combination of his Chaos Space Marines as well as the Sorcerer, and then saw about maybe a little bit of a Generator bash. Kind of splitting hairs, though, at the moment. He did push pretty far forward. Over here, though, Force Commander is so far forward, he might go down. No, I don't think he will. Not enough melee in his retreat path. He's pretty far back. I thought maybe that damage over time bolter from the Plague Champion could do it, but definitely not in the end. Eternal War is starting to be upgraded on some of these Chaos Space Marine squads. At least one of these squads from MylanHunter does have Eternal War. We've got, ooh, man, we've got the... Is it sextuple Chaos Space Marines? Oh, no. But this is a turret being put up. Turret being put up on the natural power farm for Chaos. And they actually do have an angle to get in on this turret. Like, they can actually move. Yeah, they're going to do it. Oh, maybe not. I was going to say they could. But I think if they were going to do it, they would need to be a little bit more decisive about it. This might even be a time for the Bile Spear on the Plague Champion, just to make sure that that thing is gotten rid of. But he's not going to commit to it. And this is Zeno. He definitely had the resources to do it. Unfortunately, now he's moving. He was a little bit too indecisive. Didn't get a whole lot done with his positioning there. Going to find himself getting doubled again. And the turret stays up. Oh, God. This is a horrible situation for our Chaos players. And once again, we do see this is our other player. This is MylanHunter, who's here pretty much by himself. It didn't take too much damage from that grenade, but he's still definitely overall losing the engagement. It's still, I think, 2 against 1 here. Yeah, this is a combined force from both Vohlrim and Slasher. Okay, Shotgun Blast will knock over the Sorcerer as well as the Heretics. Meanwhile, Assault Marines get their jump in, trying to get some damage in on the Chaos Space Marines, but I think the Assault Marines, they're just going to be overwhelmed. We could see Assault Marine models killed here. Oh my God, that was 2 of them. If that Sorcerer had like a teleport, he might even be able to finish off the whole squad, but I don't think he does. Probably only if he had both the Vestments of the Warp as well as the Sword of Flame. This is absolutely brutal right now by our Space Marine players against our Chaos players. All right, at least there they engage with enough strength in numbers that they do scare off that tactical marine squad. And at some point here, okay, I think they can do this. I think they can do this as long, but he just needs to commit to it. I think even though there's double scouts here, there's the tech marine, I think they can just go around, unfortunately not quite respecting the firing arc. He needed to go around right here. Okay, it might be enough anyway. Grenades will go in, though, because of that suppression. One Chaos Space Marine model does go down. The repairs from the Tech Marine going in, but I think the turret will eventually be finished off. It's staying alive so long. Oh, my God, this is actually so brutal. This hurts so much to watch. Oh, no. Oh, no. I feel like there are at least 2 times when they had the opportunity to deal with it. I mean, the tough thing is, it's easy to see this from my perspective, but early turret cheese from either a Tech Marine or a Plague Champion can actually be highly, highly effective. And again, just from my kind of bird's eye perspective, where I'm not responsible for actually making the decisions on a moment-to-moment basis, I can see the hole. I can see where he can come in to actually get rid of this. If he can just move some units through here, I'm pretty sure they can move through this small spot, because I'm pretty sure we saw his Chaos Space Marines start to do it last time. And again, I also feel like it really was a time, like, as much as I don't always like the idea of getting the Biosphere on the Plague Champion, but I do feel that that was a situation where it would have been warranted. Just to make sure that the turret is just absolutely gone, and then that chapter of their lives is over with. As it is, I mean, this actually just hurts so much, because our Space Marine players are getting all this power. Our Chaos players are not getting any of it. Space Marine players paid for all that power. It's a plus 76 power income for the Space Marines compared to only plus 29 for our Chaos players. It's crazy to say this, but like I'm calling game now. All Space Marine players are going to Tier 2. Finally, we have MylanHunter, the first of the Space Marine players on their way, but I don't think they'll be ready in time at all for this Razorback, especially given the compositions that our Chaos players have gone for. They've gone for heavy Chaos Space Marine builds, which means that at least one of their players, if not more than one of them, had to delay putting down generators to put those Chaos Space Marines out on the field. It also means that they didn't get any squads that can be upgraded to anti-vehicle in Tier 2. Literally no one, except for maybe the Plague Champion with a Plague Fist. Good luck catching a Razorback with a Plague Fist. So it's looking dire. It's looking dire. Triple cap now. Although Tactical Marines not quite respecting those Raptors. I think they'll get out of there okay, but that was a super close call. Oh, is this Bionics from the Tech Marine? It is Bionics. Bionics able to just knock down a bunch of Heretics, as well as really just any infantry unit, but great as a melee counter. Although our Space Marine players do need to retreat here before they do suffer any significant losses. I even wonder if this Heretic squad could turn around on the Tactical Marines, but they don't. Okay, instead they make sure that the Tech Marine goes down. Tech Marine, of course, it's not an easy position to revive him. Apothecary's getting really low as well, taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have a heal ready, and he doesn't have any health anymore, so that is the end of the Apothecary. This is looking pretty rough at the moment. Okay, we do have our Chaos players getting to Tier 2, but man, are they running out of time. Going to be a second Assault Marine jump in. Staggered Assault jumps does mean more disruption. I do like it. But one of those Assault Marine squads did have to get out of there, worried about the Heretics coming in. But man, what are they going to do about this Heavy Bolter? Like, it's MylanHunter who's in the easiest position to do something about it. Could actually afford Plague Marines. Could afford Plague Marines. There is also a Las Cannon Havoc. So Plague Marines will be coming out for TyranidTerror. But they still don't have this. Oh my god. They're finally going to get it. Just because, I mean, at this point, Slasher has completely abandoned it. Or are they even going to get it? We got scouts moving in. Okay, yeah. I think they will get it, but it's also going to take so much time. If the only one bashing this power node are these Raptors, even the Heretics coming in, it's going to take a while. Okay, decides to let the Heretics do it. Move the Raptors forward. I don't know if... never mind. Force Commander's really low, though. Will he go down and retreat? It's a pretty close call, but he'll make it out of there alive with 3 hit points. Meanwhile, Grenade will go in, but not too much damage done. Unfortunately for the Chaos players, they're not going to be able to hold on to their power much longer. They're only just barely getting back this power farm, only just now, and they're about to lose this one. Razorback will just start cleaning it up, although, okay, Plague Marines will move out. At the very least, Endor will need to respect these Plague Marines. We do see TyranidTerror trying to move with the full force of his army, and not just the Plague Marines. Meanwhile, things are still happening right here. Raptors are starting to get low. They did dive onto the Tactical Marines, but this is not going to be enough from Zeno. He needs to back out. Like, the Chaos Space Marines will eventually lose this fight, along with the Plague Champion. All right, meanwhile, on this side, we do just see some Space Marines moving back. And in the middle of the map, we do see just not much happening. So yeah, eventually he had to go. Like, he did not have enough units there to actually properly fight against Slasher. I think he needs, like, his full army.
An ally has taken a victory point.
Like, I think for Zeno to win the engagement here, Tech Marine's not up yet. That's a good for him. I think the Raptors want to focus more on the tanks. The Chaos Space Marines, as well as the Plague Champion, want to focus more on the scouts. Even if it means moving forward a little bit, tanking some of the Tactical Marine fire themselves. Or just hopefully the Raptors jump on the Tactical Marines, shut out most of their range damage by suppressing them. 2 grenades thrown in, but a complete miss. That's actually pretty good for Zeno. What can he do here? Oh, but here's some support. Okay, well, Vohlrim kind of moving in and out. A lot of things happening right here now, and it's still a double cap for our Space Marine players. 2-0, so Space Marines, I mean, they're still at 500 victory points. Ouch. Meanwhile, Tactical Marines exploding here. I think they got hit by the Warp Fire abilities. Sorcerer is here, did recently use some energy, and we're going to finally have a Dreadnought out on the field, but doesn't manage to peel the Scouts off of the victory point. Triple cap for the Space Marines. Chaos players need to make something happen fast. Like, there needs to be a unit on this point ASAP. They're about to get the middle, at least. But, man, I feel like there can't be someone here on this victory point faster for the Chaos players if they want to stay in this game. Like, who's it going to be? Finally, are we going to see the Plague Champion from Zeno do it? He's not even moving there. They're losing so many victory points. Meanwhile, we have a Dreadnought for Mylan, but a Predator is already out on the field for Endor. He's in Tier 3. All of our Space Marine players in Tier 3. They had massive tech advantage just by virtue of the Tarantula turret controlling the power farm up in the top of the map. Oh, man, what a denial there. Zeno trying to revive the friendly Sorcerer will be stuffed out by the Venerable Dreadnought. Venerable Dreadnought will also just make it impossible for the Plague Champion to revive the Sorcerer. Oh my god. We had Plague Marines teleported in with the Warp Global, but they're teleporting into point-blank range of the Dreadnought. Oh my god, the Plague Marines might even get wiped here. I don't think so. Corn Marines, ugh. Yeah, they can't fight the Venerable. Dreadnought we're seeing trying to be upgraded to the Mark of Tzeentch. But oh my god, it's under fire at the moment. It barely has any health left. This is just looking so hard for our Chaos players. The good news for them is that they at least have the double cap, but for how long, honestly? I don't think they're going to control their natural for much longer. Absolutely not. They don't stand a chance at holding this victory point for the moment. I don't know. It's looking like it's just going to be another game in favor of our Space Marine players at the moment. Tzeentch fire going on the Tactical Marines. They're actually taking a lot of damage. Corn Marines try to approach, but oh my god, look at the way those Corn Marines were melted. They never stood a chance there. Jesus. Or should I say, by the Emperor. I mean, the Tzeentch Dreadnought is opening fire on the Venerable. The Venerable's tanking a lot of damage. Honestly, the Venerable will probably go down here, but it's also just distracting so much attention, buying so much time, that might be enough to win the game. A Tactical Marine squad was wiped by the Raptors, but I still think this is going to be a one engagement for our Space Marine players. It'll just be a very messy one. Yeah, we even have the decap for our Space Marines in the top. What was that Predator doing, pulling a wheelie? All right, Venerable is down, but I think we're already pretty much at the point of no return here. Yeah, this is game 2, going in favor of our Space Marine players. Okay, Razorback is down, but there's just no time. They just bought all the space that they needed with that push. Game number 2 goes in favor of the Space Marines. It's a rough one. This is not looking good for the Forces of Chaos. We'll see what's going to happen in game 3, though. Game number 3 will take place on Wrath of Baal. MylanHunter actually switching sides here. He will now be playing on the Space Marine side as the Force Commander. Endor will be on the Apothecary. Vohlrim on the Tech Marine. On the other side, Forces of Chaos. Going to be TyranidTerror, just going through the various Sorcerer skins. Zeno will be playing as the Chaos Lord. And finally, this time, again, switching sides, Slasher will be playing for the Chaos, this time on that Plague Champion. Man, Wrath of Baal. You know, this also reminds me, whatever happened to the Judgment of Carrion 3v3 map? Where'd that go? Seems to just be, like, gone from the end of time. Of course, Wrath of Baal, very, very similar map, but there are definitely some differences. One of the things that I remember about Judgment of Carrion was that there were certain parts of the map that were blocked off by pipes, but if you had a unit like a Dreadnought or something walk through it, it would break the pipes, and then you could actually rotate through those parts of the map. But that was on Judgment of Carrion. This is Wrath of Baal. It's a different map. Doesn't have that. Scouts taking a lot of damage. They will just need to retreat out there. Scouts really just can't stand up head-to-head in a fight against Chaos Space Marines. Tactical Marines can, but we've got Tactical Marines. No, they're in cover. I couldn't even see those boxes for a bit. However, I think they ultimately have to back off, even though they technically do more damage and they have Kraken Bolts. They ultimately back off because of the sustain that Slasher is giving his Chaos Space Marines. They will eventually win because they are being healed. All right, then. So, meanwhile, Zeno approaching with this Chaos Lord, being pretty aggressive, but Shotgun Blast already coming out from Endor does knock away the Heretics. Meanwhile, the Chaos Space Marines are in melee. Does look like this is probably going to be a one fight for Endor, but Scouts are still being chased by the Heretics. While the Chaos Lord tries to focus on the Tactical Marines, they're being chased all the way back to their base. Eventually, did they lose a model? They finally do lose a model. Meanwhile, down here... Now, I mean, of course, the Heretic lost a model as well, but getting a Scout model actually kind of makes all that chase worth it. If they didn't get a Scout model, it would have been definitely an economic loss for Zeno, even given that you're expected to lose Heretics just as a course of engaging with them, period. Not getting something in return for it would definitely be a big loss for him. Meanwhile, we still got some arguments over what was going on last game. Meanwhile, a bunch of Scouts dead over here. Oh, I see what's going on. We see turrets being dropped. Oh, that wasn't from last game. That's in this game. And being placed on the Space Marine Natural. This is two turrets. And these are, since these are Plague Champion turrets, they actually have such a wide angle on their coverage. This is going to be pretty rough. I don't actually know the answer to this. And I mean, the tougher part is like MylanHunter, well, he can get out of his base if he just fully goes around the firing arc. Although it's kind of hard. It's a very limited area he has to go around the firing arc. But I think it's doable, especially given that the Plague Champion turret doesn't fire too fast. And as it turns out, you know, Of course, sometimes it's tough to figure out what do you do about these things. Like, what do you do about these things when you're in the middle of a game? That can be tough, like, because things are moving so fast. But of course, the Force Commander does definitely have an answer to this. He could get the Chainsword and Storm Shield, as is being said, and then you put a Flamer on Attack Squad, and then that's at least an answer. We'll see how well it works in practice if he does actually get that. For now, though, let's take a look at what's going on over here. Ooh, we do see Tactical Marines rather. Tech Marine's going to go down here. He will go down. That will be a kill on the Tech Marine. All right, and that will pretty much be a full power bash. There is still a power node standing, but it will just go down as a matter of course. Finally, it's finished off. Tech Marine, or not Tech Marine, Noise Marines, meanwhile, is now starting to... Ooh, they don't manage to start using their weapons on the scouts before they knock them over. But eventually it doesn't matter, and it does look like TyranidTerror will win this engagement anyway. So how are we doing right here? I mean, he's got the Chainsword and Storm Shield, but he doesn't have the Flamer. I think the Flamer is really... I think the Flamer is essential. I think that needed to happen. Instead, he's jumping... Was he jumping Assault Marines in there? He must have. Yeah, he must have lost the Assault Marines. Oh, this is looking pretty bad for our Space Marine players this time. See, I mean, normally, part of what you might have to do in some cases like this is even ignore this. Like, let it be for the moment, and then focus on other things until Tier 2 when you have even stronger answers to dealing with a turret. Something like a Plasma Cannon Devastator. Plasma Cannon Devastator? Yeah, Plasma Devastator would be a much easier answer, but I still think... Okay, he finally has the Chainsword and Storm Shield and the Flamer. He didn't have the Flamer last time. Let's see if he can at least make this happen. Yeah, this works. I think. Yeah, I mean, it worked. It works. He's trying to go for the other one. The other one, he's not even in the firing arc of this one. But what's happening is the Tactical Marine's starting to get tied up. Okay, does run out of energy for the defend ability. And this is the case. Originally, he got Assault Marines. This actually might have been a time for a Devastator rather than Assault Marines. Oh, no. Oh, this is tough. Meanwhile, on this side, this is not too much of a game here. Not at the moment, at least. We do have MylanHunter just... He's positioned to hold this, but... Oh, no. Force Commander went down. Oof. Turret is still here. Endor calling the GG already. Oh, God. Oh, my God. So that is the Chaos team actually taking a game. That's definitely not how I expected to see it happening. But they put a point on the board, and this series will go 2-1. Still in favor of the Space Marines, though. Let's move on to game number 4. All right, game number 4 in our series will take place on Calderis Refinery. Our first player this time on the side of the Space Marines will be Zeno, playing as the Force Commander. Next up, it'll be Endor on the Apothecary, Vohlrim playing as the Force Commander, and then we're going to move on over to our Chaos players. MylanHunter will be playing as the Chaos Lord, Slasher on the Plague Champion, and finally, it'll be TyranidTerror playing as Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. Back to those Night Lords. All right, then. Hopefully people aren't too tilted from the last game. As we do see the Sorcerer. What is he doing? I feel like he could have caught a cat. Maybe he's looking to throw some Doom Bolts at people. He's going to start taking some damage. Throws Doom Bolts, and oh no, a complete miss. And, oh man, he took so much damage just trying to move in for that. I felt like he could have taken that time to capture the power node. I felt it would have been a better use of his time. Meanwhile, on this side, we have the Force Commander pushing in pretty far forward. Already has tagged a model, now 2 on that squad of heretics. They're just running away from him. Meanwhile, the Chaos Lord will be running out, chasing down the scouts. Scouts are actually getting low enough that they could drop a model, so they will just make sure they get on out of there. And now the Force Commander is here by himself. But Force Commander, he's going to be focused down at some point. Yeah, he's already taken a huge amount of focus fire because both the Plague Champion as well as a squad of Chaos Space Marines are chasing after him. He does run out of their range, though, but they're starting to get back in range. If anything, maybe draw the Chaos Lord and the Chaos Space Marines back. I mean, I know they're trying to focus on this Tactical Marine squad. Battle Cry is used. That does mean that the Chaos Space Marines will get knocked down if they're in melee. This is getting pretty close, though, to the Force Commander going down. Wouldn't be a hard revive, though, for someone on his team to get it, but it would be a lot of time committed to getting that revive to move all the way into a friendly player's base. Chaos Lord will have to retreat there. Meanwhile, wow, this is Endor pushing in pretty far. Yes, pushing pretty far. Does have a flamer. They did get a generator and a power node. Scouts actually going for the decap while the Tactical Marines still looking for the generator. Oh, they get a heal, though. The heal against the heretics is honestly really, really powerful because those heretics, they just have such a short lifespan that if you give a heal to attack squad, it really makes it a lot harder for the heretics to engage there. Heretics will need to retreat. Eventually, it does look like we actually don't even have our Space Marine players fully forced off of this, and they've gotten the decap. I don't think they'll be able to cap it up in their favor, which does mean that our Chaos players are going to hold on to 2 generators. Can these Chaos Space Marines finish off? They do start force meleeing the Force Commander, but I don't think it will be enough. Too many of their models were knocked down. If they hadn't been knocked down, maybe force melee from all 3 models could have resulted in a dead Force Commander there, but it just wasn't meant to be. You know what? They haven't actually regained this point yet. We do have a successful flank by the scouts. They will just be sitting here, of course, in cover, doing damage with their shotguns. We did see that the Havocs were going to start to reset up, which was why we saw the shotgun blast. Eventually, the scouts need to get out of there, and they will also lose a model for it. So not actually a whole lot achieved with that flank. All right, so Chaos Force is moving back out, chasing down those scouts. On this side of the map, oh man, we apparently had a lot of Heretic models die. In fact, enough Heretic models to constitute a whole squad, because as it turns out, Slasher did lose one of his Heretics. I'm assuming that's his Heretic squad there, but I don't know. He's actually more in the middle, so maybe it was someone else's Heretic squad and wasn't actually fully killed. Apothecary just straight up needs to retreat here. Still some risk of him dying. Okay, he does get out alive. Just barely. All right, then. 490 to 428 in victory points as our Force Commander does move forward. He'll tie up the Chaos Space Marines, but they'll just kite back. Assault Marines will jump in to stop the Havoc from suppressing, but I was going to say, the lone Assault Squad by itself, I don't know if it would be enough, but 2 Assault Marine squads, I think that's enough. And I think that'll win pretty well against most of these Chaos units. But we have another Plague Champion with the Plague Sword. Assault Marine model is heal. Will he actually use it and jump? Like, he could actually use that zombie Assault Marine to jump onto these Tactical Marines and stop them from using their Flamer. He doesn't recognize it in time, misses the opportunity. Oh my god, that's such an important dodge by those Havocs. If they had stood around there and actually eaten that grenade, they could have been wiped entirely with that little health left. All right, so ultimately, it looks like a 1 engagement for our Space Marine player. This is Plague Champion still here, but he doesn't even have Mucus Discharge, so he really can't sustain himself for that long. It's actually a wonder that he was able to stay around that long and not take that much damage. But I think that probably means that he just wasn't being fought into. He was kind of being ignored. Chaos Lord, he will make it out alive. Devastator Marine Squad no longer targeting the Chaos Lord. Instead, choosing to work on this power node, reclaim it for the Imperium. Scouts will move in. They'll get a decap on the natural victory point for our Chaos players. Meanwhile, on this side, Scouts will knock back the Heretics. Who does this fight eventually favor? It's a tough one to call, but the reinforcements coming in from the Space Marines does definitely mean that it will go in their favor. But here are some Chaos reinforcements. I just don't know if they're in time. I think it's too much of a staggered approach. Because I think it's still like a 2v1 situation. Assault Marines will, of course, jump on the Havoc. Heal goes in, but unfortunately the Plague Champion also lets himself get knocked down, which slows his ability to counter-initiate. Meanwhile, he'll also get knocked down by the Force Commander who's counter-initiating on the Plague Champion. Now another squad of Assault Marines jumps in. I don't think the Havoc's trying to set up again. They're having trouble making it happen. So it's still looking like this is going to be a one engagement for our Space Marine players. Apothecary is pretty low, but okay, he'll just retreat out of there, make sure he doesn't go down. We do finally have reinforcements coming out of TyranidTerror coming back out on the field, and they do succeed in getting themselves a Force Commander kill. Also, at some point, it looks like a squad of Scouts was killed against Zeno. But one of the things that our Chaos players are definitely struggling with at the moment is the victory points. It's a triple cap in favor of our Space Marine players. 447 to 310. So it's already a big lead for them. And it's going to continue to drop even further because it's going to take some time before our Chaos players are actually able to reclaim the victory points, especially if this Chaos Lord goes down right there trying to deal with that Devastator Marine squad. Heretic getting in point-blank range with this Devastator squad, trying to get into melee with it. Actually, that was really nice. Using the Doom Blast, even though they weren't really in range yet, but got the suppression to stop the Devastator Marines from firing. I like that. That was actually a really nice play. It was looking kind of risky. All right, lots of Doom Bolts going in on these Tactical Marines. They will need to get out of here. They cannot stick around there much longer. Generators will be burned down, however, by this Tactical Marine squad. They'll run out of there. They could even just retreat out of there if they really wanted to. Ideally, it wouldn't be ideal for them to retreat at this time, unless it means preventing a model loss. Oh man, things are happening on both sides of the map. Where do I go? What do I watch? All right, now there will be some generator bashing on the Chaos side, but they've lost so many victory points at this time. Now down over 200 victory points as these Noise Marines start to rip these generators apart. We need a little bit more pressure on these Scouts. Even though the Scouts won't win, I don't think they should still be allowed to shoot with impunity. And eventually the Noise Marines do take care of that. Okay, Raptors jump in. They will suppress the Scouts, and that's actually enough to scare them off. Drop pod will be dropping in. But they might be overwhelmed. Oh my god. I don't think that's a great drop pod if you basically drop pod tax into instant retreat. I think that kind of means it wasn't a good positioning on the drop pod, or you weren't ready to support it. And at that point, you might as well have just bought a Tactical Marine squad in base. All right, Devastator Marines will be shooting at range, suppressing these heretics. Okay, I was going to ask, what is MylanHunter going to do? But he does have a Chaos Dreadnought, so that will eventually force the Devastator Marine squad off the field. They're already upgrading to a las cannon, and it can't be canceled because now they're in retreat. So they will switch over to that las cannon. Meanwhile, Chaos Space Marines trying to get a victory point back in the middle as well as in the top, because they are about to lose the natural one for the Space Marines. Some builds coming out of our players. Fully upgraded Force Commander from Zeno, Thunderhammer, Artificer Armor, and the Sacred Standard. Meanwhile, no other upgrades from our Space Marine players. We've already seen the Plague Sword, and I saw the Mucus Discharge before, even if I didn't call it out. And Chaos Sorcerer does have the Rod of Warpfire. It does give him better range damage. Also gives him a directional knockback ability called Warpfire. Scouts will be retreating out there. Okay, they lose a model. I was going to say, if they don't lose a single model there, they're pretty lucky. Double Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines. Nope, one is Tzeentch, one does not have a mark. Oh, but here's a Dreadnought. The Bloodletters, they might be strong at many things, but they don't want to deal with the Dreadnought. I thought I saw a Devastator Marine model somewhere. Yeah, there needs to be like some other source of damage. I'm looking for what is the source of damage against the Dreadnought. There isn't much. There is a Blastmaster Noise Marine squad, but it's about to get jumped on. Does get off a single shot, but it does not connect with the Dreadnought. Instead, it's actually friendly fire on some Chaos Space Marines. That is pretty rough. We also do have this Chaos Havoc squad, which I didn't mention before, didn't quite see it, and it will also get jumped on by the Assault Marines. Double Space Marine Dreadnoughts moving in. That's a lot of vehicle armor, and the Bloodletters are going to get killed. Oh no. This is turning out to be a rough fight for our Chaos players. Chaos Dreadnought shooting its autocannon, but potentially in trouble. Okay, trying to focus fire on this one Dreadnought because that's the one that's taking the las cannon fire. But the other Dreadnought will eventually get into melee. We'll tie it up. It will need to get out of there. And that does mean that there's not a whole lot of threat left on this Dreadnought until the Havoc tries to set up again. But for the moment, we're just seeing the Dreadnought continuing to chase. And that will force the retreat on the las cannon. All right, Dreadnought still trying to do its work. Trying to take out the Force Commander, and he will be taking... Oh, no, he got a heal from the Apothecary just in time. Or is it? Still came pretty close to going down. All right, he won't go down, though. 73 hit points. He is safe. Ranged Dreadnought trying to get into melee with the Stern Guard veterans, but needs to be careful, making sure it's not walking into something like a las cannon. There is a las cannon. On this side, though, some traitors are attacking. It is a squad of heretics going all the way down to just their aspiring champion. Meanwhile, I believe Slaughter has been activated by these Chaos Space Marines, or at least one of them, the one that does not have a mark. But the other one, I think the Tzeentch squad is super low. Grenade goes in, does actually hit the Chaos Space Marine squad with no mark. An Assault Marine model goes down as well. Meanwhile, over here, Assault Marines, my god, really just fighting against the world there. The entire Chaos Legion. Lucky to not lose a model there, even going up against like 4 or 5 squads by themselves. Scouts are not that tanky, though. They're in melee with heretics. Heretics will retreat. They're still taking damage. Oh, I think this Dreadnought is gone. It's just being chased after by the Dreadnought. Dreadnought needs 1, maybe 2 more punches. 2. Oh my god, it's actually going to get out alive. It is going to get out alive. The Worship. And now the Space Marine Dreadnought is actually kind of in trouble. I don't know if it gets out of here. He's trying to just hard commit to going in. 1 more shot. Okay, actually it will get into melee before it's finished off. Does get 1 more shot off. But now the Chaos Dreadnought can come back in and finish it off. That was actually pretty well played by, this is MylanHunter right here. Unfortunately for him, it might not make a difference because our Chaos players are getting very, very close to being on the verge to losing this series. All right, Raptors will jump in. They will suppress the infantry. They will force the retreat, but they will also get knocked down by this Dreadnought out of Endor. And our Chaos players are also really running out of time. Looks like they will reclaim their natural victory point, but they've got to make a play for one of the other ones. Otherwise, this series is over and the Space Marines take it. Multiple knockbacks from those Plague Marine explosions. Rather interesting. Assault Marines jump in. Not a whole... Okay, I was going to say not a whole lot to answer them. Touch of Nurgle is here, but this is a squad of heretics that only has 3 models. I mean, they can maybe explode 1 more time. But beyond that, now they're in a huge amount of trouble. Unless they're going to upgrade to an aspiring champion really soon. All right, at least the Touch of Nurgle will definitely cover their retreat. Doesn't even look like it's necessary, and that will be Chaos players retreating out of here. I don't know. This is looking like it's curtains for our Chaos players. Tactical Marines with their increased capping speed about to finish a cap on the Chaos Natural. And Chaos desperately trying to get the middle one. They don't even get it because of Merciless Strike, knocking the Chaos Space Marines off. Raptors trying to make a desperate play at this time, but I don't know. It's not enough. That is it. That will be the Space Marines finishing off this series in a 3-1 fashion. Oh, some last few kills. All right, then. That'll be it for our Chaos versus Space Marines series. Space Marines take it 3-1. I do hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.